Good morning. Oh, we're in the afternoon already.
We are. It's the first minute of the afternoon.
Right. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Caroline.
Hi. So hello, everybody on Facebook, all of our friends. We are here live with our very first heart conversation, and hopefully you've been seeing our little teasers where we've talked about heart conversations. They're going to be a series of Facebook Live sessions that we're going to do with different guests where we're talking about the different types of well-being, so physical, mental, emotional, spiritual well-being, and how all of that relates to a sense of balance and a sense of wellness for each of us within our own lives. So we're very, very excited to be here for our very first one. We hope you all have lunch and that you're snacking on something delicious and healthy. And with us today, go ahead, Cal. Yeah.
No, I was just wondering if we could just like in true Elevate fashion, if we could just like all take a couple of deep cleansing breaths to allow us to become present and allow our hearts to lead us and connect us. Because I know it's important for me and Lauren and Caroline, and we always try to come from that place. So how does that sound? Yeah,
I mean, that's how we start all of our meetings, right, Kelly? So that makes total sense. Yeah.
Just take a couple deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. And just feel yourself be present. Let everything else roll away. And just allow yourself to be present in your heart, connect with your heart, and lead from your heart. We here at Elevate with Lauren welcome you to our time together now. Deep breath in and exhale. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's always like it's like the nicest, most refreshing pause to do that, isn't it? To take a deep breath.
It is. It is.
Well, I just want to quickly introduce Lauren. For those of you who don't know Lauren was an integral member of our Elevate team as we put on our first summit last year. She has been a professional certified life coach from the International Coaching Federation since 2015. She supports clients throughout the country and helps them facilitate their own powerful transitions, one decision at a time. And we are thrilled to have her as our very first guest on Heart Conversations. Thanks for being here, Lauren.
Thanks for having me. This has just been, I was completely honored that you guys selected me to be your first one. So thanks for having me.
I would also like to add that Lauren is one of my very best lifelong friends. So being on this journey of life with her has been wonderful, but not only that, but to share the experience of Elevate and even these next steps with her just fills my heart. So
we could have had a picture ready to show that. We could have put that side by side of us from 5 years old or something to now.
Right. Yeah. So we're here to talk about life balance, right? And for us, when we say for us because it's different for everybody, but we, try to look at the different aspects of life balance pertaining to your physical self, your mental self, your emotional self, and spiritual self, and how those all work together and work independently. So Lauren's going to talk to us about we're going to have a conversation, right, about the mental aspect of that.
Yeah. And
right. So maybe we could start just by finding out, Lauren, what are your thoughts about life balance and how it relates to all these components? What does it mean to you?
What it means to me is the one thing I've been thinking about as I thought about this conversation and how I wanted to kind of verbalize it. Life balance isn't necessarily something that is achieved. It's not like an end goal for me personally. It's more about an awareness. And when I was trying to think about how to put that into words, what was coming up for me was almost like a barometer. So like how you use a barometer to measure the pressure in the atmosphere, that has its way of kind of judging the outside, the weather and how things fluctuate so much and what that does to the atmosphere. And I think we all have that capacity to have that gauge within ourselves to judge what balance, how it flows back and forth. And when we can be really attuned and really hone in on when things are feeling out of balance, it's almost like we can choose to then focus our attention on what's necessary, whether it's work, life, physical, emotional, personal. There's so many facets to all of our lives that it's just being aware of when something might not feel balanced. And then we focus our attention there to kind of get us back to what feels right for us. Because it is such a general concept, right? For every individual, it's a different barometer, a different way of judging what's right for them, what feels right, what isn't right. Some people enjoy going full blast all the time. And for some people, that a little bit of full blast can be like, oh, this is just not me. And being okay with whatever your barometer is for life balance is a huge way to settle yourself, I guess.
I love what you said about the awareness piece, right? Because it's so integral into how we take care of ourselves and our well-being is coming to a place of being aware, right? Because when we're not aware and we're not present, we don't even know what's happening sometimes. So like to what you said, like when we feel like we're off and we don't have that awareness, we can actually, I think, fall into that like vortex or that pigeonhole and just, keep spiraling. So, awareness can be, or is really, really an important piece, I think, in all of this.
Yeah, and I also like the idea that it's less of a static state and more of a dynamic, fluid sort of state. Sometimes I think we're being sold the idea that we have to find balance, achieve balance, and then we'll be balanced, and that's it.
Right.
And really, we're kind of always seeking balance, right? And I think to both your points, if we have the awareness that we need maybe more of one thing on one day versus more of a different thing on another day, then we're always just trying to kind of stay within that window of what makes us feel good, instead of like trying to get to a destination.
Right.
Exactly. Oh, you'll love that. Yeah. The flow and the process. Stay in the flow and the process. Lauren, we're here to talk about the mental aspect of well-being. So we're wondering about how would you define the mental component of this as it relates to others?
I look at it that this is the mental piece is about how we talk and feel and care for ourselves. The physical part, yes, there's the physical body of caring for ourselves, but our mental and our mind, there's such peace that comes with acknowledging that you have a choice in how you react and where you focus your attention. Sometimes we feel like we don't, because it kind of pushes us to the brink, and goodness knows I'm guilty of that, especially when our tempers are short or we're really stressed about something. But I encourage not only my clients, but myself to really pause and just remember that you don't have to focus or be anything more than you're capable of being in that moment. And taking care of yourself from that mental standpoint of any expectations or that negative self-talk or anything that gets your mind so jumbled up that you just don't know what to do next. That going back to that awareness, that's kind of like that first sign of like, maybe a little break, maybe just kind of give yourself some time, some space to be present with whatever it is you're feeling. So we're so quick to push things away, but if we can just sit with it for a little bit, it really can open up a lot of opportunity to have, it's almost like you're building up that muscle. It's almost like a muscle within yourself that you need to keep working on the muscle. It doesn't just come, you have to practice, just like anything. Like from a physical standpoint, you need to work on your physical muscles. Like I think from a mental aspect, it's the belief system and in working on that balance muscle every day.
So what are some of the tools that you use to work on that muscle and to bring yourself back when you find yourself, moving in that direction of
I have a porch swing that I use. When you just know that you need time for yourself, like finding that time. For some people, it might be reaching out to a friend, might be a podcast, it might be a meditation, it might be, there's so many tools available. And I think for me, it's just, sometimes I could just lay on my bed and just be there without being okay with not doing anything in the moment except feeling whatever it is I'm feeling. And I think those interruptions of the hectic mind, the self-talk, when you interrupt that pattern, it just pushes pause and you just have to kind of be with it. And then you are at that place of choice where you can, or am I going to continue thinking this and feeling this and getting myself all worked up, or am I going to acknowledge I can do something else about it? Or maybe I can't do anything about it and I have to be okay with that. So for me personally, I find a lot of solace in just sitting on my front porch and just listening and watching and cloud gazing, whatever it is that takes my mind off of whatever it is that I'm thinking in the moment.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful, Lauren. That that pause that you say that you take and you encourage your clients to take to create that space for awareness, to really give attention to what are those thoughts that are really running through our mind that at a lot of times are causing quick responses or reactions that people don't realize that they have the ability to make a choice around shifting, right? And how the thoughts that are going on in our brain are affecting how we feel, are affecting our body, are affecting our actions in the world. So that beautiful pause to create space for awareness, to allow for choice is wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. So again, it comes down to awareness, which is interesting. Now I feel like there's a theme rising to the top almost to this conversation, which is just being aware and catching yourself in these moments and then asking how do I want to feel? Or do I have a choice in the matter? And I think what I'm hearing is that 9 times out of 10, we do have a choice.
Yeah. And to your point about, when we talk about the idea of balance, I'm thinking when I feel out of balance, I'm realizing in this conversation how much judgment I can place on myself for then feeling out of balance, instead of just being out of, and like acknowledging, okay, I'm feeling it. What can I do about it? Instead of telling myself that, I messed up or I'm not doing this right or whatever the case may be. It's just instead of judging feeling unbalanced, get curious about it. Like, what's it trying to show you?
Oh gosh, that inner self-critic can be brutal, can it? Oh,
Yeah.
that inner self-critic. So I think also, to your point, Caroline, these themes, right? The themes of awareness, the themes of pause, the themes of choice, the themes of finding your breath, right? And taking those deep breaths. And, and Lauren, yeah, I think it's a great segue into our next week's, the emotional component, but just like you said, allowing yourself to feel whatever those feelings are, the feelings of joy and excitement, but even those feelings of frustration or hurt or anger, and allowing them to be there, but then knowing that you have the ability to create the shift and create however you want to experience moving forward, that you don't have to get tied up into it.
Right.
Well, ladies, believe I could just go on talking all day, right, about this, especially with the two of you. But it's close to 12:20 already, and
really? Oh wow!
Yeah,
okay.
and we kind of told our audiences that we were doing these quick 15 to 20-minute talks. But literally, I could just sit here, go get my lunch, and hang out and talk with you and talk with the Facebook world.
Yeah. Well, you know what's great is that this can maybe be a springboard for other conversations, and a lot of it is just about posing the question, right? Because we're not saying we have the answers; we're sort of posing the question and I think the truth is what's true. It's what's true for you, not what's true for us necessarily, right? It's what's true for all of us.
Yeah. And just like what Lauren said in the beginning, I think is super, super important, that everything that we talk about or what you might read about or what you might learn is very individual, and it's what works for you and what resonates for you. Has to resonate, and you have to feel it, and you take pieces of what you hear and learn and try them out in practice.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Just keep practicing, and if it doesn't feel right, just get curious, let it go, try something new. Just be gentle with yourselves, because we're all doing the best we can.
Yeah, gentle.
Amen.
Right from your heart. Well, thank you guys. This was fun.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah. And
I hope everybody enjoyed the conversation, and we'll be back next week, right, Kelly?
Next week, Wednesday. What is that date? April 15th. And we will be talking about the emotional aspect of well-being. And I believe our guest is going to be George Haywood, who is a licensed independent clinical social worker who has a practice in our area, and he also works with youth. So he'll be joining us next week.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Lauren, for being our very first guest.
Bye, everybody. Stay safe. Be healthy, everyone.
Yes. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.